Okay, so you have an idea of what the tree of life is and the basic faculties that are part of God, the universe, nature, and that are within you. Each one of these are different faculties within you, within all of us. So in the Maji order, in the training, each deity is a different school. So at Per Nectar Kemet, you go through each of the different spheres on the tree of life at different levels of your training. It's a 1-year training, and you spend 1 month on each of the different deities. So we have here, again, we start from the bottom. So this school is called the Rites of Passage Deprogramming. And for this level, I've developed a system called the Art of Life, or Tao Life, where you learn, it has 8 parts, and each energy has connections to each of the 8 directions, so on and so forth. So on the first part is meditation. Alright, you start to learn basic meditations here. The next is internal exercises, moving and learning how to move energy within energy. The next is diet. In diet we deal with 5 tastes. We deal with yin and yang, or pH balance. And the 5 tastes are hot, salty, bitter, sweet, and hot, salty, bitter, sweet, and sour. All right, and they deal with the different organs, energizing the different organs, so on and so forth. The next part is dealing with herbs. Now, as I stated before, one of the major herbs that we want to get into is, of course, marijuana medicine, because according to all kinds of reports, it's just dealing with healing with all kinds of things. But there are other herbal formulas that we deal with in the overall alchemy of transforming the physical form into a higher being and all that type of stuff. Next is self-massage, or acupressure, where you will learn how to massage the different pressure points in the body to keep that energy moving, because of tensions in the shoulders and in different plexus, like the solar plexus where the nerves come together, you get tense, and this keeps energy from moving. So when you learn acupressure massages and learn how to massage the meridians and so forth, you keep the energy moving and you open up these tense places. Next, we deal with what's called sexual kung fu, or sexual yoga. This is learning how for men to transform the sperm into chi, or bioelectromagnetic energy beam, and then chi into shen, which is spirit. So basically we're changing ice to water to steam, and thus the body changes also, because the body is mostly or almost all water. Alright, so in women is not the same process, obviously, because you're different. But well, women have their own way of transforming the physical body into a higher spiritual body, which is what the sexual energy is about. Taking the sexual energy, heating it up, making it rise, and transforming the physical body through that. After that, we deal with outside of ourselves now. All that was to deal with the energies that's going on inside of us and how we connect with the energies. Now we're going to deal with the energies outside of us. This is called Feng Shui in Chinese. And that's dealing with directions on this level, on the earthly level. The 8 directions, each direction has its own particular energy, and we know it exists because if you take a compass, the needle will point directly to magnetic north. That means there must be a south. It automatically creates a south. So that automatically creates an east and a west. And then you have southeast and southwest, and all these are different vibrations which deal with each of the different things that I'm talking about now. Meditation is one vibration, one direction. Internal exercise is one direction. Diet another direction, so on and so forth. So after Feng Shui, we deal with, in this system, we deal with Taonomics. That is the Tao as applied to Powernomics. Powernomics is a system developed by Dr. Claude Anderson for the upliftment of so-called black people. I call us Moors, but that's a whole nother subject. Alright, so all that is on the Geb level of training. That's the lowest, the physical, worldly level, Geb. After that, your first level of spiritual training is yoga in the school of Uset's yoga. And despite what you might have learned, yoga means probably something different than the average person, what the average person knows. So we have a yoga of, in Uset yoga, we have a yoga of sorrow. We must feel sorrow for the loss of our higher selves, which we call Usar. Then we have a yoga, you have to really go through the feeling of these feelings. So it start off with sorrow, and then we deal with love, the love of Haru and the love of Usar, the love of yourself. Remembrance, the yoga of remembrance, remembering who you are, Usar, not this. You have to remember who you are. Remember, put Usar back together, remember. So we go through that as your first stage, as your seat of spiritual development. Next is Het Haru. Het Haru deals with the creative energy, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm not sorry, I apologize. The next level is actually Subek. Subek deals with the left brain. All the stuff that we're dealing with out here, all the parts of everything. And in that school, in Paranetar Kemet, is dealing with the technical aspect. You'll learn about pyramids, and we'll learn about the Ankh, and what they call an obelisk, the Tekken. All these are technical devices. So on that side, we'll deal with that. Next will be the right brain, dealing with the creative self. Acting, singing, dancing. I drum and play and stuff. I used to dance and so on and so forth. So in that school is the theater, where people will learn our mysteries, the Egyptian mysteries, but through theater. In one side we're dealing with the technical aspects, and the next side we're dealing with theater. This is a whole nother deity within. So after that, we deal with Haru. Haru deals with the leadership abilities. Okay, so we get into all that as far as leading in whatever you do. In our sense, we're talking about leading a nation, being a true leader of a real nation. But overall, you could be, you're putting what you learn in the Magi into leading a corporation. The most famous of these types of Magi that go to work behind the scenes is Merlin. Merlin directed King Arthur. Don't do that now, or make that campaign now according to the stars, such and such and such. That's what Magi do. Or it could be whatever it is that you want to put the powers that you learn through Magi training. You can be a leader, or you will be, or you can't help but be a leader in that it just, with me, it takes a lot to start a temple and teach people spiritual stuff. So mine started a little later than some other people. But anyway, after Haru, we go into HarKhuf. In our temple, this is where we'll start to learn martial art. Our system is called HarKhuf. Remember, Haru is the offensive force. So we want to deal with or HarKhuf is the offensive force of the Most High. So it's not wait till you have to defend. So in our martial art and things, we want to bring out the Ka, the spirit of HarKhuf. So that's an academy by itself. Then we move across from one part of justice and law to the higher part, which is Ma'at. Ma'at is the universal law. You understand? It's the law that no matter how high you get, it's the law that you have to go by. Everybody has to deal with. Stop breathing. You don't believe in universal law, stop breathing and stop breathing right now. It's a universal law. Everybody has to breathe. So when people start telling me that, universal law of vibration, universal law of breathing, etc., etc. The next level, which I said before that I'm going to switch these two spheres, is Shisha. And again, Sishat deals with writing and magic, and she's in between Ma'at and Tehuti, which is the next sphere. Actually, she was the first deity to be seen as the one who brought writing and magic and these things down to us before she was replaced by Tehuti. But okay, so in that school is where we're dealing with learning with making the cannabis, marijuana medicines, and dealing with cannabis on the spiritual level, and learning all these types of things, and also hemp. Hemp is going to be the foundation of our building, our nation. Because there are products, so many products that could be made with hemp. From a religious point of view, it would be a sin for us not to get into it. You plant a seed in the ground and you have clothes, you build homes, you have food, and thousands of other things from this one plant. And in the Bible it says that God would give man a plant that would basically set him free. I can't see no other plant that does that. Medicines on one hand, and all types of products that we can make by hand on the other hand. Come on. So this is something we have to do. At the next level is Sabet. Here we deal with the Taoist sexual yoga. The green or the jade dragon for the males is learning how to retain the sexual energy and then transform it. The white tigress for the females is opposite. She has to learn how to absorb male energy to bring about her changing the physical into a spiritual being. And this is your whole Jesus story. I'll get into that on another DVD, but the whole story is about transforming the physical being into a spiritual being and not leaving a physical body behind. So you have three instances in the Bible. Enoch, who God liked, so just was gone. Moses, same thing, and Jesus. And people seen him transform because he came back and they was like, well, he's like, I want to eat. Wait a minute, I thought you was dead. Alright, so his whole story is a Taoist story of transformation into the physical, or from the physical to the spiritual. Ice into water, into steam, which rises up to heaven. It's very simple. You are water. So after Sabet, we deal with the school of Tehuti, which is the Medu Neter. The Medu Neter is the oracle that we use in order to tap into the Tehuti faculty and bring down the wisdom of what it is that we need to do. You don't have to guess at life. There's a way to go directly to the source and be like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do? Alright, cool, this is what I'm doing. I asked if I was supposed to do this, even though I wanted to do it, so my personal desires just happen to fit in with what my destiny is supposed to be doing, which is doing this, what I'm doing right now, this second. After Tehuti, the highest level is Usar. At that level, we focus totally on just in spiritual development, spiritual development, period, on you. You know, that month, that last month is just you, and raising your spirit to its highest degree. To become Usar was not only the desire of life in ancient Egypt. Men, women, the smallest workers up to the Pharaoh, everybody wanted to be Usar, like people say to be like Jesus. Well, this is where they get it from. So that's what we call, that's the name we call the highest spiritual vibration. Now the difference in the two schools of Tao and Egypt is that in Egypt they developed the spirit and then created those pyramids to shoot you out into the stars, specifically the so-called Orion or Usarian constellation. Those three stars, the star, one of them, that pyramid shoots the soul out there, and the body was left here with the melanin to be like a receiver, but that's other stuff. Now the Taoist, in which comes out of the school of Tehuti, when we moved on into China, went with the school of transforming the physical body into a spiritual body and not leaving a physical body behind, but still have all the freedom of being a spiritual being, being able to leave this planet by will and go into that star if I want to. So it's a difference, because once you transform this, people will still be able to see you. You'll be like steam, but you still be you. Because isn't that what immortality is all about in the first place? Everybody wants immortality so you can still keep your particular consciousness. All that becoming one with the universe sound good, but what is immortality then if you're just a part of some collective, if you're not an individual forever? Alright, so after that, now we talk about the next level and deal with coming forth by day in Amen. This is the teachings and the magic of the transformation, or the rising up into the higher and getting ready for Amenta and the afterlife and all that type of stuff. Alright, so that is basically the different schools and academies and theaters and so on that make up the whole